I want to talk to you about our portafilter stand. Now, what that does, quite simply, is it holds a portafilter in place while you grind by weight, or you do puck grooming, or you're pouring coffee grounds into a portafilter. Our portafilter stand is just bent aluminium, and it's meant to be quite light so that if you do use it to weigh things on a scale, it doesn't upset the weight. There are some other portafilter stands out there that are big, heavy, massive things, and you'll find that your weighing is much slower or less accurate if you're using a massive portafilter stand. We went through 18 design iterations over 2 years to make this portafilter stand. We wanted something that was super light and compatible with a wide variety of portafilters. And it is compatible with all portafilters that have wings at a 90-degree angle to the handle. If your wings are like this, unfortunately, it won't work with our stand. There's a few different ways you can use the stand. You can simply take it, put it on a table like so, and then put your portafilter on it. You can also take a scale like so, put the stand on, and put the portafilter on like so. If you're only using bottomless portafilters, that's to say with no spout, then you'll want to get the short model. If you're using a spouted portafilter, such as this double spouted portafilter, you'll want to get the larger model, which you can use like so. Some extremely large double spouted portafilters, like the one from La Marzocco, won't work. This is a 22-gram basket portafilter, and it works just fine, and you can buy it from us. But there are lots of other double spouted portafilters that work fine with the tall portafilter stand. With the box that the stand comes with, you'll find a couple other things. 2 pads of 3M double-sided tape. You can use them, for example, to glue the portafilter stand directly to a stand. If the wood handle on your portafilter is painted and very delicate, you might want to use this little rubber fitting thing on the front here, which will prevent any scratches. But if you're using any sort of robust handle, you don't need to use this at all. If you have a niche grinder, you'll notice that there is a hole here with a slot. You take this piece of wood off the top. Underneath, you'll see this bolt. With an Allen key, you take the bolt out, and you can mount our portafilter stand directly in it. The slot lets you slide it forward and back to exactly the position you want. If you have a Weber grinder, such as this Weber Key or an EG1 or any of its other models, there is a hidden magnet here, and that allows the magnetized version of our stand to just lock directly into place. So what's great about this is you don't have to modify your grinder at all. It just locks into place with a magnet. If you don't use a portafilter stand, when you want to weigh the grounds when you're dosing them into the portafilter, you'll find that the portafilter tends to move back and forth, and you have to spend a little bit of time to make it perfectly steady. If you want to weigh your grounds as you put them into the portafilter, it's quite easy with a stand. Just put it on the scale, and then tare, and then pour in. And that lets you see exactly the amount of grains you have. Now, the reason you want to do that is because a lot of grinders have retention, and what you put in might not be what came out. So to get the most accurate espresso, weighing what goes into your portafilter is quite a smart thing to do. Or with the spouted portafilter and the tall portafilter stand. And that's a really good example of why you'll want to use a funnel when you're pouring grounds into your portafilter so that you don't make a mess like I just did. This time, our spouted portafilter, a stand, and our funnel. You can see that with a funnel, I can pour the grounds in with a lot more ease. And so the pairing of the funnel and the stand is a very common one. If you've got a niche grinder, grinding directly in the portafilter is going to do 2 things. First, it'll just be faster. Secondly, you're going to make better coffee because you can slide the portafilter stand forward and back so that the mound that comes out of the niche is perfectly centered. Let me show you what that looks like. By having the mound of coffee in the absolute center, there's much less work to do after the fact when you're grooming the puck with a tool. If you hadn't had it in the center, then you've got way more coffee density in one side or the other, and you have to repair that afterwards. Much easier to just put the portafilter under the grinder in the right place, and your coffee is going to just taste better. Let me show you what it looks like when you grind directly in the portafilter using a Weber grinder. First, you're going to put the portafilter stand, then the portafilter, and then a funnel, and then grind directly into the portafilter. You can see with the Weber, the grounds are evenly distributed, but it's more toward the outside. That's simply a design of how the Weber grinders tend to push grinds to the outside rather than the in. Now that I've ground, as a next step, I would put the portafilter onto a stand and then use a puck rake to then even out the coffee grounds. And now I can tamp. Speaking of grooming the coffee puck, without the stand, the portafilter would not be flat if I laid it here. Instead, it is quite angled, and if I were raking, the coffee grounds would have trouble being flat. So the stand is helpful when you're grooming the puck to hold it in place and level. If our funnel is too tall for the space that you've got, we also make a much shorter one, which will fit into almost every space. Our stand will work with a wide variety of grinders, and you can get third-party height adjusting stands to make it all work in your particular case. That is all about our portafilter stands. If you think that could be useful to you, I do recommend you watch our video on our funnels, because the funnel and the stands are often used together. Thanks for watching.